Hello, I'm George Brown,
And I'm Julie Simon.
and we just wanted to welcome you to this year's training video. We are so excited about the year ahead, and we couldn't do it without your support.
And we are so grateful for your support. You know, March in Westwood is always just amazing and full of madness. And this year, March Madness is all about you, our incredible scholarship volunteers. As a coach would say, each day is a masterpiece, and we wouldn't have that masterpiece for our future without your commitment to reading our scholarship application. So for that, we are so grateful for your amazing Bruin volunteerism.
So as you go through this video, we hope you have some useful information to help guide you through the process. If at any time you have questions, please give Julie or I a call or an email, or me, and my contact information will be at the end of the training video and in all of the emails that you've gotten this far. We just want to make sure you feel supported and have all of the necessary tools to be successful in this process. And we thank you in advance for all of the work that you are about to do.
Thank you and gratitude. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins. We'll cut that part out. Hello, Bruins. As Julie and I had mentioned, we wanted to welcome you to this year's application review training. We are so excited about the 2020 Alumni Scholarship season. There are a number of changes that have happened, and this video is really to get you comfortable with the review process. We wanted to achieve a couple of things this year. One of them being is we wanted to make the training concise. We appreciate the time that you're dedicating to the process and know that your time is valuable. And so what we've done this year is we've actually condensed the training portion into just that, the training portion. There's still an admission update for you, and I encourage you guys to watch that at your leisure if your time permits. There's some exciting information about the students that are being accepted into UCLA today, and I think that you will find that video very rewarding. But just in case you're limited on time, we've actually made that a separate video, which you've gotten the link to as well. So you can watch that separately from the nuts and bolts of what you need to get through this process. Today we have a few things to go over. The first of them being a staff introduction. I want to introduce you to the people that will be helping you through this process and helping our students through this process. That way, if you have questions as you're reviewing information or applications, you know who to reach out to. I wanted to give you some background to the program, and I promise to keep that brief because I know we have a lot of volunteers that have done this before. But for those of you that haven't, I wanted to give you some background on the program. We wanted to go over the 2020 freshman process so you have an understanding of what is expected of you as volunteers, the work that's ahead of you, and to make sure that you're comfortable with that process. And then since this is a video, there is a question portion, but that's really just a slide with contact information for you to be able to reach out to us if after watching this video you have further questions. So my name is George Brown. I'm the director of the Alumni Scholars program. And in addition to helping recruit volunteers and getting them ready to read applications, my day-to-day responsibility focuses around supporting the 600 scholars that we have on this campus. They're an absolute amazing bunch. You guys do an incredible job of selecting great Bruins to lead this tradition forward. They get automatic membership into the Alumni Scholars Club, and I oversee that organization with 14 other student leaders on a daily basis. The second person that I'm going to introduce you to is Anna Hamilton. She's the coordinator for Alumni Scholarships, and she is a support system for the Alumni Scholars Club. And she is the backbone behind this operation. She really keeps the day-to-day workings of the office and the programming that the students do in full force. And finally, our partner in financial aid and scholarships, Tamara Singh. She's a program manager there, and she is the one who has taken over the selection process from alumni. So she is actually working with our program Academic Works that manages all of the selections that you guys will be doing over the next weekend. She also takes care of awarding of all the scholarships. So she's the one that works with the students' bar accounts to actually get their scholarship dollars deposited, works with our students if they're going to be graduating early to make sure they're able to secure all of the scholarship dollars that they're entitled to, and really keeps this program alive as far as our students and their financial support is concerned. 84 years of scholarship. It's amazing to think that this program started in 1936 with 2 scholarships of $150 each. And now here in 2020, we support over 550 students on an annual basis with awards of at least $1,500 per year. This is one of the few merit-based scholarship opportunities on campus, and we're delighted to be able to provide that experience to our students and to you as volunteers in the selection process of those future Bruins. I mentioned briefly about being an Alumni Scholar, and so all students that are selected and awarded an Alumni Scholarship become members of this Alumni Scholars Club. They don't really have an option about it. We kind of draft them into the organization, but being an Alumni Scholar is more than just that financial piece that they're receiving in order to support their education. UCLA is a huge institution, and for some students, it can feel a little bit impersonal. And so what we've done with the Alumni Scholars Club is really tried to create the sense of community amongst like-minded students. We want to be their home base where they go to study, where they go to get support, as well as participate in the activities that we've developed for them throughout the year. Some of those activities are social, so they can help build their community, but most of them are either leadership development opportunities or opportunities for them to network with alumni. I think that is unique about our scholarship, and the fact that it's coming from the Alumni Association is that we have direct contact with alumni that have an interest in supporting our students. And so we are able to, through many efforts, one of them being the Alumni Mentor Program, which I encourage you guys all to be a part of. It's on the UCLA One platform, but it's really an opportunity for students to connect with alumni. Our students get some benefits by being an Alumni Scholars. For instance, UCLA One and our mentorship program is open to the entire campus. However, our Alumni Scholars get priority registration in that. So before the platform opens up to the entire campus, our students are in there selecting mentors and trying to make those connections ahead of the campus. One of many benefits of being an Alumni Scholarship recipient. There are tons of networking opportunities throughout the year, and we invite you guys to participate in those. Since you've signed up to participate as a scholarship reader, I will be in constant communication with you throughout the year, updating you on what our Alumni Scholars are doing and inviting you where there are opportunities to connect in order to do so. Our scholarship is a merit-based program, so we don't look at financial need when we're making the determination of who's selected as an Alumni Scholar. The interesting part, though, of our scholarship is there's a need-based component. So if you're selected based on your merit and you still have a financial need, our scholars are eligible for up to an additional $5,000 a year in need-based grants. So that $1,500 award could really end up being $6,500 once we apply that need-based grant. As I've already mentioned, it's a merit-based scholarship, and there are 2 avenues to receive a scholarship from us. One is an incoming freshman, and the second is a community college transfer student. An incoming freshman is funded for 4 years. A community college transfer student is funded for 2 years, and there are some simple renewal steps that students need to go through in order to get their second, third, and fourth payment if they're an incoming freshman, and their second payment if they're an incoming transfer student. As far as monetary value, our freshman awards range from $6,000, which is $1,500 per year, to $20,000, which is $5,000 per year. Those are divided over the 4 years that the student will be here at UCLA. Transfer student, $6,000 award, it's paid over 2 years. So that student would then be eligible to get $3,000 per year. This does not take in consideration our needy students that have up to an additional $5,000 available to them for need-based grants. So let's go over the selection cycle so we can emphasize some important dates that you guys need to remember. The scholarship application deadline is coming up. It's March 10th, 2020. The scholarship has been open for students to apply to since the beginning of the year. So that opened on, I believe, the 2nd of January, and students had from that opening date until March 10th in order to submit their completed application. Admission notifications. Now, this is just an estimate. This is not a hard, fast deadline, but March 20th, 2020 is when students should hear from UCLA on whether or not they've been admitted. The application review process will start immediately after that. So at 12:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on March 21st through 11:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on March 22nd, the portal will be open for you to be able to review scholarship applications. It won't open anytime before that, and it won't remain open anytime after that deadline on March 22nd. So you really have that small window of time in order to review scholarship applications. The process shouldn't take too long, but I would recommend that over that 2-day period of time, you set aside a block of time that you can be undisturbed and get in front of your computer and actually go through that review process. What you will also get once you register for the academic work system is a short training video on how to manipulate that platform. It's not a long video, but definitely worth watching if you haven't reviewed applications before using Academic Works, so you will feel comfortable through that process. Student notifications. So right after you submitted your screening scores, we're going to let students know if they've been awarded. Many of the students that have applied are using this as a decision-making factor in whether or not they decide to come to UCLA. So we want to get that information to them as quickly as possible in order for us to have the best opportunity to get those students to come to UCLA. So that student notification will happen the week of March 23rd. Bruin Day. That is when we welcome all Bruins, everybody that's been admitted to the university, to UCLA for a day of activities. That's on the 11th of April. One of the things that we are going to be doing this year that's a little different in years past is we are inviting volunteers to come on Bruin Day to take part in a reception where awarded scholarship recipients will be invited at the end of Bruin Day to talk to our students, to talk to our alumni volunteers, and really engage with that community. If you've submitted reading scores and you are local to UCLA's campus, you will be sent an invitation to participate. We have a limited amount of space for alumni volunteers, but you guys are an integral part of that programming for the day in order to help us get these bright Bruins to come to UCLA. And as every year, the statement of intent to register is May 1st, 2020. That is where students need to commit to whatever university that they've decided to go to, which we all hope is UCLA. We're going to spend just a few moments kind of going over the application scoring and rubric. There is a couple of changes that have happened in that scoring process, so I want to make sure everybody understands those and why they have been implemented. So you're going to be looking at several different areas as you're reviewing scholarship applications. The first being extracurricular activities. The second being volunteer work and community service, unpaid. We're not interested in their paid service because that's really not community service, that's a job. Honors and awards. Now there is a way for you to take into consideration employment if they've had some. Any additional information that they've provided, they'll have 150 words or less in order to do that. And 2 short essay questions. What you will notice is missing if you've reviewed in the past is the letter of recommendation category. This year, we've removed that from the application process for several reasons. The first reason is we found that there were a number of students that had completed their application, had gotten in all of their materials, yet their recommender did not follow through with their commitment, and therefore their application did not move forward in the process. So students were being penalized for a lack of effort on the recommender's part by not adhering to the deadline. Even when we've extended the deadline for recommenders a week to 2 weeks past the actual date of the application, we've still struggled to get all of those letters of recommendation in. The second being is part of the craft of letters of recommendation are who you've asked. So you could be a phenomenal student and ask someone to write a letter of recommendation for you, and they don't invest the time and effort in order to provide a strong letter of recommendation. Speaking from experience on an annual basis of writing numerous letters of recommendation, it is a time-consuming process. And what we found is often recommenders wait until the last minute, and so their submission is not the best reflection of the student, their abilities, or their achievements while they've been in high school. So this year we've removed that from the process. I know some of you guys enjoyed reading the letters of recommendation, and I hope that you get that same enjoyment from finding that information in their essays and what they've provided as extracurricular activities. There's 3 categories this year that you'll be scoring on. Extracurricular activities and community service is going to be worth 50 out of the 100 points. Honors and awards are going to be worth 10 points out of the 100. And essays are going to be worth 40 points. There's 2 essays, and each essay is valued at a maximum of 20 points. Next, you'll see the scoring rubric. You will get emailed a copy of this document, so you will have it next to you as you start the review process. There's a couple of things to highlight as we go through this that I want you guys to think about. So for extracurricular activities and community service, that is a large portion of their total score, half, 0 to 50 points. Some things that you want to think about, you can find in the comments section. What is their depth of involvement? Are there individual accomplishments or facilitating achievement for or with others? Are there unique accomplishments involving exceptional commitment, workload, or overcoming obstacles? These are things to think about, and what I would advise you to do is to read through a few applications before you commit to scoring. And the reason why is because at face value, all of these students are amazing. You are going to be reading applications for some of the best students in the country. And so when you read that first application, especially if you haven't done this before, your first instinct is to say, oh my goodness, this student is absolutely amazing. I can't imagine having accomplished this much when I was in high school, 100. But then you read student number 4 or 5, and you realize that student 1 isn't quite as competitive as you originally thought. So I would advise you to get familiar with the application and the types of students that you will be reading. That way, it will give you a better understanding of the breadth of the applicant pool. And then it will be easier for you to go in and assign these scores. In those extracurricular activities and community service, take a look. Was this student a leader in an organization or just a member? Did they start an organization? Were they the founder of a club at their school? Or did they kind of take the back seat and just participate? Those are the things that are going to set our scholars apart from just the average applicant in this process. And we've assigned 50 points to this section because this is really an indication of how involved they're going to be as Bruins once they get to UCLA. We are awarding the scholarship based on their merit, but we want them to stay engaged and involved. So one day they'll be watching this training video, making decisions about who the next pool of alumni scholars will be. The next section is honors and awards, and that's 10 points. And the reason why it's only 10 points is because what you'll find is many of the students, if not all of the students that are in your pool of applicants to read, will have a ton of honors and awards. That's the type of student that's being admitted into UCLA. It's nothing new. Now, the first question that I would have is, how do I know what these awards are? What they involve, what their status is amongst other awards that I may see in this application process. And for that, we're going to provide you a document, and it's going to have the most commonly listed honors and awards. Will they all be there? No. There's new things coming up each and every year. but it will be a good representation of the things that you see often on these types of scholarship applications, and also give you an idea of what that organization is about, because some of them won't make sense just by reading the title of the organization. We want to make sure that we empower you to have an understanding of what these honors and awards are and how significant are they. Is it something that 90% of the high school gets, or is it something that is one or two people from a particular high school have achieved this honor or award? So that sheet will help you determine that. And that's why it is such a low value of points, because so many students have this as a part of their application. The essays, I think, are one of the most important sections because it gives you a little bit of light into the student that you are reviewing. This is their opportunity to tell their story. And some of the things that you want to think about are their responses thoughtful? Did they put some work into this? Does the applicant demonstrate a passion for leadership and service? Right? Because those are the types of students that we're honoring through this program, those that are going to give back and be involved when they arrive at UCLA. Creativity of the essay. Were they thought-provoking? Did it hold your interest? Did you read that particular essay and say, oh my gosh, this is the best essay out of the pool that I've read? Okay, this is an opportunity for you to reward those students that have written strong essays. We've separated them out. So there's 2 essays and there are 2 blocks of scores. Each essay is a maximum of 20 points. So if you have one essay that is outstanding and the other essay is weak, you still can only give that outstanding essay 20 points. You can't borrow points from the other essay to reward that one strong essay. That's something to remember. But really, as you go through this process, it is very important, and we'll get to this in the next couple of slides, that you remain internally consistent. However you're reviewing application number 1 is how you should review application 2, 3, 10, or 15. You want to keep your review process consistent. So if a student that has very little in honors and awards gets 1 point for student A, student B should also get 1 point for that same representation of effort. You don't want your scoring method internally to fluctuate. Remain consistent with your scoring. Utilize your glossary for extracurricular activities and awards. All applicants will likely be impressive to a certain degree, right? So take a look at all of your assigned applications, just a quick glimpse prior to actually beginning the scoring process. Keep an eye out for extenuating circumstances. Did this student not have so many extracurricular activities because they worked 35 hours a week in order to help provide for their family? Did their parents work all of the time and they had to be a caregiver to a younger sibling? All of those things take into account as you're scoring, because sometimes these applications tell a story. So where something is lacking in one area, it's because there is an abundance in another. And so you want to take a look at the applicant's total package and paint a total picture for that student as you begin to score them. I'm sure many of you guys will have questions. And so we're going to provide you with an email address that both Anna and I check on a regular basis. So that way we can provide answers to your questions. We're also going to provide you the number to Tamra, who will be your point of contact that weekend of review. She will be manning the system, making sure that everything is functioning properly. She will also be available via email if you're having questions or the system isn't quite working right for you or the way that you expected it to. Tamra will be your point of contact during that review process. Any emails with general questions can be sent to Alumni Scholarships at support.ucla.edu. Thank you in advance for your participation. Go Bruins.